Alright, with the Shadow of the Mad King event well underway, our inventories are getting cluttered with a lot of junk, and it's very tempting to just delete everything. But that might not always be the best thing to do. So let's take a look at how we can make some extra gold from all of the items that we're getting during the Halloween event, and let's start with the 4 easiest ones, the materials. Candy corn has the most obvious value. You can convert them to cobs to be spent weekly on a tattered batwing and a chest of legendary shards, which are both an excellent deal. There is also a vendor selling recipes for stat selectable armor and novelties, as well as a vendor that sells unlockable skins and miniatures. Even if you don't care about all of those, you can still use your candy corn to stack the buffs from the Gobbler, which is currently available on the gem store and I'm a huge advocate of. I've been talking about this item for weeks now, or maybe it's even months, and I'm gonna link the video one final time in the pinned comment. I swear I'll shut up about it for about a year now, or I'm gonna try to at least. If you still have leftover candy corn, there's a few more avenues to spend them. The obvious one is listing them on the trading post. Throughout the year, a stack usually sells for around 1 gold and 30 silver, although this is lower now due to the festival going on. Or you can use the candy corn for several crafting recipes. Most of the cooking recipes will actually net you a slight profit, so if you're willing to take a few extra steps, this could be a good way to make some extra gold. I'll leave a link to the crafting calculator on GW2 Efficiency with all of the recipes in the pinned comment as well, so you don't have to manually research every single one of them. The 3 other materials can also be converted into an upgraded item for 1000 each, and can be spent on 5 globs of ectoplasm at a weekly vendor. This is a pretty great deal and is therefore recommended. The second most obvious use for them is crafting, more specifically for crafting lunatic gear, which is the stat selectable armor I already mentioned. If you don't care about the exotic gear you can craft, they might as well be a junk item. Or are they? Let's take a closer look. As I mentioned, you can upgrade each of them. There are currently no buy listings for any of the base versions, and an abundant supply of sellers on the trading post. So you might be tempted to trade 1000 of them for the upgraded version and sell those for 25 to 70 silver, depending on which one instead. Do not do this. This is the one time that your teacher was right and maths can be useful. See, you can sell the base version of the materials for 25 copper each to any of the vendors in the game. 25 copper means we get 62.5 silver for a full stack and 2.5 gold for 4 stacks. So instead of selling the upgraded versions for a couple of silver on a trading post, go and dump them at the vendors. You might wonder if it isn't worth listing the base version on the trading post instead, as they can be listed for 30 copper. In my opinion, it isn't. 30 copper after trading post taxes will come down to 20.5 copper. And that extra half a copper isn't worth dealing with the trading post or the potential waiting period for me personally. I'd rather get my gold immediately and sell to a vendor. Before you go and dump all of your excess Nougat, Skulls and Fangs, make sure you don't need them for any of the exclusive crafts though. Some of you might want to use them for guild hall decorations, but I'm gonna assume not a lot of people are. That's the obvious value out of the way, but what should we do with any of the 3 tonics, toilet paper and rotten eggs? The last 2 can be used once for an achievement and to annoy your friends, but you can sell them to a vendor. So they are quite literally junk that will accumulate and you can safely delete. That leaves us with the Gargoyle, Hellfire Skeleton and Shadow Raven tonics. If you're after profit, I have some bad news for you. There is none to be found here. If you're after unlockables, you'll want to hang on to a couple of stacks of them. You'll need 2 stacks of each tonic to create an endless version, which you can then add to your wardrobe. And there is a 4th endless tonic that can be made that requires each of the tonics as well. So if you want to round out your collections, you can at least use 1000 of the consumable tonics for those. Mind you, these are vanity items and one of the components is quite expensive. The Endless Hellfire tonic can also be used for a miniature that will set you back another 100 gold. Before ending the video, I also want to touch on trick or treat bags. I often see the question asked whether you should open them or sell them on a trading post. If you're after one of the super rare infusions that will net you a couple of hundreds or even thousands of gold, the chances of getting one are so abysmally low that you shouldn't count on getting one ever, even after opening 100,000 of the bags. So selling them is the most surefire way of making gold. Although opening the bags isn't a complete loss. You can still recoup some of the costs from the materials I discussed in the beginning of the video. Personally, I open all of my trick-or-treat bags as I want as much candy corn as I can, as I'm still missing a lot of the miniatures. If you want information on anything else, hit me up in the comments or join my Discord. And as always, like, subscribe, and if you find an enchanted music box infusion, I seem to have lost mine.